Far away in heaven, there was an angel whom Jesus trusted deeply. His name was Micah. One day, Jesus gave Angel Micah a simple mission. Go down to earth and bring back the soul of a woman who had just passed away. Micah obeyed without hesitation and descended to earth. But when he arrived, what he saw broke his heart. Beside the woman's lifeless body were her newborn daughters. 3 tiny baby girls, triplets. The first baby was still nursing from her mother's breast, unaware that the warmth she clung to was already gone. The second was crying loudly, her small voice echoing through the still empty house. The third had cried herself to sleep, her face streaked with dried tears. These 3 helpless children were alone with their dead mother. Their father had already passed away, and there was no one else to care for them. Micah's heart ached for the little girls. He couldn't bear the thought of leaving them all alone without their mother. Saddened and troubled, he returned to the heavens without taking the woman's soul. When Micah returned to heaven, he stood before Jesus and said, "I couldn't take her soul. Please forgive me, but you don't understand the situation. There are 3 innocent baby girls, triplets, still nursing. One is still clinging to her mother's lifeless body, another cried herself to sleep, and the third is wailing non-stop. My heart couldn't take it. Can't we let their mother live a little longer, just until the girls are a bit older? There's no one left to care for them." Jesus listened patiently. Then he looked at Micah and said, "So you believe you're wiser than me? You think you understand more than the one who sees the entire universe? Today you have committed your first act of disobedience, and for that there will be consequences. You will return to earth and remain there until you help 77 poor children rise out of poverty." Micah accepted the sentence without protest, but deep down, he didn't think he was wrong. Micah returned to earth, not as a being of light, but clothed in flesh, walking among the poor and the forgotten. He made his home in a small slum on the edge of a growing city, where children begged in the streets, slept under broken rooftops, and searched for food in piles of garbage. He began with the simplest things, sharing bread, healing wounds, teaching the alphabet. He saved what little he earned to buy sandals for bare feet, clothes for bodies bruised by the cold. Days passed, then weeks, then years. He kept count of every child he had helped, but the longer the list grew, the heavier his heart became. Some of the children he had cared for disappeared, swallowed up by gangs, drugs, or despair. Others, once full of hope, grew bitter and angry. Some died without ever knowing a better life. Micah tried harder. He worked longer hours, spent more, gave more, held on tighter, but the more he gave, the more he realized the darkness wasn't going away. He hadn't lifted even one child out of poverty, not one. One quiet night he sat alone by the river. Micah looked up at the stars and whispered, "Lord, I gave them everything. Why wasn't it enough?" One late afternoon, drained and weary, Micah walked past a small shoe shop. His sandals were torn. He stepped inside, hoping to ask for an old pair of shoes. Inside were 3 young women, full of light and laughter, trying on wedding shoes. They were accompanied by an elegant older woman. Micah paused. There was something familiar, an unexplainable pull. Then he realized they were the triplets, the very girls he had once protected with his disobedience. The infants who had clung to their dead mother. Now they were alive, well, radiant with joy. He stepped closer and asked the older woman gently, "Are they your daughters?" She smiled. "These girls aren't my biological daughters. I found them when they were just babies. Their mother had passed away while trying to feed them, and there was no one to care for them. I had no children of my own, so I took them in and raised them as my own. They grew up in wealth and now all three are about to be married into a royal family. Micah said nothing. He stepped out of the store, tears welling in his eyes. After walking a distance, he looked up to the sky. He said, "I was wrong. Fate is far greater than we can ever understand. We only see what's right in front of us, but the bigger picture is beyond our understanding. I've laughed at my own foolishness 3 times now, and my punishment is over. I can finally return home." Then the clouds parted. Light broke through. His wings returned. A wind lifted him from the earth, carrying him swiftly upward, higher and higher, until heaven welcomed him once again. With that, Micah realized his mistake and returned to the heavens, wiser than before. The moral of the story reminds us that life's events are often beyond our understanding, and worrying about the future doesn't change what is meant to be. We often get caught up in immediate struggles, focusing on problems that seem overwhelming. However, what may seem like a major setback or a challenge can turn out to be part of a larger plan that we can't yet see. For example, when we go through personal hardships, like a difficult relationship, a financial crisis, or health issues, it's easy to feel like things are falling apart. At the moment, we may ask, "Why is this happening to me?" But sometimes these challenges help us grow in ways we didn't expect. They might teach us patience, resilience, or reveal new strengths we never knew we had. Just as the messenger couldn't see how the triplets would end up living happy, prosperous lives despite their mother's death, we too can't predict how life's difficulties will unfold. Sometimes our toughest moments lead to personal growth or new opportunities that we couldn't have imagined. The story teaches us to trust the process of life, to be patient, and to understand that things often happen for a reason, even when we can't see it right away.